All right, welcome back to Arc Salt Lake. A new land speed record was just set on the Bonneville Salt Flats using a hydrogen-powered JCB Hydromax. The new record, 406 miles per hour, making it the fastest a hydrogen internal combustion car has ever traveled. For more on this historic run and what it means, I am joined by JCB Global Marketing Director Adrian Hall. Adrian, thank you for being here this morning.
Nice to meet you, Lincoln.
Nice to meet you as well. So give us the basics here. What happened yesterday for those who haven't heard?
So as part of our speed record, we had to do 2 runs up and down the Bonneville Salt Flats with an average speed of 406.32 miles an hour, which set a new land speed record for a hydrogen-powered internal combustion engine using JCB's digger engines.
What is JCB for those who have not heard of you?
For anybody that's not heard of JCB, we are a construction equipment manufacturer. So we make backhoe loaders, we make load-alls, we make excavators, and we sell those on a global basis. We have manufacturing operations throughout the globe, one in Savannah, Georgia, and a new factory which will be opening later this year in San Antonio, Texas.
And why is JCB behind these types of achievements?
So it was very much around proving the technology. JCB builds hydrogen engines. We already install them into our construction equipment in Europe, and we hopefully will soon be doing the same in North America. But if you want to prove durability, reliability, there's no better way than putting it to test on the Bonneville Salt Flats and setting a new world record.
And who was the driver behind the wheel yesterday?
So the driver is Wing Commander Andy Green. So he's infamous within the Bonneville community. He is the fastest man on earth for a land speed record at over 760 miles an hour. And he's been our partner in our 2 endeavors. 20 years ago with our Diesel Max machine, which was a diesel-powered streamliner. And then yesterday, he set the land speed record in our hydrogen-powered streamliner.
Certainly those of us in Utah, we're very well acquainted with the Bonneville Salt Flats. We know the history of speed records there. Was there any other place in your mind that you would be able to do this?
No, there's very few places on earth, and why wouldn't we be back in Bonneville? That's where we set our record 20 years ago. The community, the SCTA, the FIA, and the local community in Utah have been very, very supportive of what we've been trying to do here, and have been very much part of the team that have delivered this record.
You know, most people driving in a car, they're familiar with speeds. When you think of high speed, you know, getting up around, 75, maybe up to 100, a little bit above 100. Describe what 406 miles per hour is really like. I mean, maybe people can't even comprehend that. They just have no sense of what that's like.
So the best way I can describe it is we start at one end of a 10-mile track. We're at the other end in less than 3 minutes. At the flying mile, we're doing the flying mile in less than 10 seconds. So around 9 seconds, we complete a mile. So it is very, very different. Clearly, when you're on an interstate, you've got sort of signs, you've got things to reference against. Once you're on the Bonneville Salt Flats, there is nothing to reference against. So above 200 miles an hour, it all looks the same. The only way that we tell is as you cross through the timing lights, and that will record the time and therefore the speed.
Talk about this being powered by hydrogen, how that works, why perhaps that source is needed.
So we've developed industrial combustion engines burning hydrogen because for our type of application, we're typically the first pieces of equipment onto a job site. We're installing the water, the gas, and the electricity onto the site. So batteries simply don't work because there isn't the infrastructure there. So using hydrogen, just like we would with diesel, we can have a Bowser that we can then fill the machines from. So it makes perfect sense to use, if you're wanting zero emissions, to use hydrogen. All that comes out the tailpipe is water.
Andy may have been the driver, but talk about the amount of people, the team it takes to actually achieved this? Give us some accolades on their behalf, if you don't mind.
So absolutely, this has been an absolute team accomplishment. We have 65 people on the Salt while we were setting the record. We developed the car using JCB engines, but they normally are only producing 74 horsepower. In this endeavour, each of the two engines, because we had two engines in the car, each of those engines produced 800 horsepower. So with our partner Ricardo, who were the specialists in engines, they were able to take our standard engine and make it develop that extra horsepower. ProDrive were involved with us in terms of designing the car. And then you might have seen the push car was a Defender, Land Rover Defender, that allowed the car to get up to speed and then set the record. And then Rise was our partner in supplying the hydrogen on site that we used to actually power the car. So it was JCB absolutely was the instigator, was the people that actually worked with these partners to produce the car. But it was an absolute team effort, and we've achieved something that I think many people didn't think was possible. And as I say, great engineering, great team effort, and a great result.
Adrian, you all just set this record, and I don't mean to look ahead, but it does beg the question, what else is possible?
So you're asking the right questions. It very much is about not just creating a spectacle, but taking the technology further. So we'll be looking to build more engines that will have greater power, that will allow us to put that engine and that technology and that green zero emission solution into more of our equipment that we can then offer out to the marketplace as an alternative to combustion or batteries.
Giving people another idea of the speed, and I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but compare the speed of this to the speed of, some airplanes out there.
So absolutely, we have got a car here that will outpace most turboprop aircraft in terms of crossing the ground. So absolutely, we've got one of the biggest challenges is actually making the car actually stick to the ground, and a lot of work goes into the aerodynamics of the car to create that ground effect, to keep it nailed to the ground and traveling across the surface safely. Safety was our number one consideration in terms of this endeavor and how we designed the car.
So will we be seeing the team, one day again out on the Salt Flats, maybe perhaps going for another record?
Never say never. As I say, we've set the record. If somebody came along and beat it, I'm sure we'll go again. But as I say, as technology advances, there's no better way of demonstrating it than through a land speed record.
Just a couple minutes left, Adrian, and I know Andy's not here, so I just want to ask through you, has he kind of conveyed what it's like to be in that vehicle as it's going that fast?
So the commentaries he's shared with me is that it's very much about the focus. Clearly, you're traveling very, very quickly. That's obvious, but there's a lot going on that he needs to focus on. Clearly, we're going over a natural surface. It's not like asphalt. It's something that is different every day and can actually change during the day. The salt actually becomes more moist. Therefore, you get less traction. So as the day progresses, so Andy has to sort of be very on his A game to make sure that he's actually recognizing how those conditions are changing between runs and even during the length of the track. So focus is the main thing.
And then what is it like for you to watch it happen?
So very humbling, really. Once the car leaves the start line, it very quickly disappears into a haze of salt. What we hear is obviously the gear changes, so we can hear the car accelerating away and making the gear changes. And then the next thing is actually the commentary that we hear in terms of the mile markers. We have spotters down the track that tell us that we're having a clean run. And then at the end of the two runs, obviously we don't know at that point what the speed is. So then the timers tell us what we've achieved, and yeah, it was a huge relief as we got the car home safe, but also then achieved the 406.
All right,
Absolutely
Adrian.
amazing.
Adrian, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us, and as I say, thank you for being part of what has been an absolute wonderful achievement.